So my favorite part had to be the excursions and or field trips that we took. In school, we get to learn about sustainability issues. You get to read about them, watch about them, see pictures, and there's nothing like seeing it firsthand. I mean, we got to drive through a landfill. I mean, you can't really get more up close and personal than that. We got to see a wetland park up close and personal, and even the hike that we did in the very first day, which was more just about seeing some of the sights, was amazing and beautiful, and it was great for bonding with the students there.
My favorite part about the program was the opportunity to attend lectures by top sustainability professionals in the field. I was part of the Marine Conservation Biodiversity Group. My group and I had the opportunity to hear from Dr. Andy Cornish, who worked for the WWF in Hong Kong. I can't express how much of an opportunity that was in regards to both how much I learned and also from a biological conservation perspective, in addition to how the NGO operated with the government of Hong Kong from a policy perspective. So overall, it was a really great time.
What I enjoyed most about the ASU study abroad trip to Hong Kong was working with the Hong Kong students, also known Hong Kongers. They had such a different style of learning, and they also were really fun to hang out with outside of the classroom and kind of get a local perspective of the crazy, amazing city.
The best part of this program was just being able to go out to the different site visits and seeing how each of these issue areas impacts Hong Kong directly. This includes how water pollution is impacting the biodiversity of the area, as well as how fast the landfills are filling up and how much of a waste problem Hong Kong really has.
So I found Dr. Jeannie Ng to be one of the most inspirational people we heard from. She guest lectured on energy and particularly the idea of trade-offs, and really got into the idea of how we balance economics with ethics.
She's the director of Group Sustainability for China Light and Power. China Light and Power is one of the two private power utilities for Hong Kong, and China Light and Power is doing some amazing sustainability stuff. It was very refreshing to hear that a utility had set carbon reduction goals and was meeting them and was continuing to set more goals and attempting to reach them.
My group was focusing on biodiversity, but particularly we were looking into the effects of land reclamation projects and the waters around Hong Kong. One of those land reclamation projects was going to be used, or is going to be used, for an incinerator. So overall, her lecture very much related to my group's topic, and it was really cool to hear from her, in addition to her being a woman in the field.
As far as who inspired me, I would say Patrick Lau. He's an advisor to the Hong Kong Ideas Center, and his work and presentation just brought home the problem of housing to me firsthand. I understood how his nonprofit work is creating innovative solutions to housing and how he's able to work with the government to hopefully provide new solutions to this.
Who inspired me the most? Mr. Glenn Former. He was the former head of sustainability for the MTR Corporation. The MTR is a big part of the public transportation for Hong Kong. It is a railway that is underground and above ground. It's not subsidized by the government, and it's a private corporation managing this. Because here in the States, most of the mass transit systems are government-run and or subsidized. So it could be a great tool for any municipality who may want to go the private route to look at and see how successful it is. Because the MTR is nothing like you've ever seen. It's nothing like we've got here in the States.
Who inspired me the most to this trip to Hong Kong were the local students that we worked with. It was very interesting to get their perspective on the sustainability issues, because we come from the outside looking in, and even though some of the sustainability problems look very similar, there's a very different perspective on what is important versus what is necessary.
The sustainability issue that drew me was definitely housing, and how 7 million people are really supposed to live on 40% of the land itself. It's simply not feasible at this point, and the impact on this is great, because whether you're very rich or very poor, everyone needs a place to call home. And unfortunately right now, the people at the middle to the lower end of the scale cannot afford homes itself. And this is an area where I thought that I could definitely make an impact in, because it's an area that's so important to everyone, and everyone has a stake in this problem.
I found housing to be the most interesting of the topics because Hong Kong and their government are really stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to public housing, which the city desperately needs to provide. At the School of Sustainability, my track is society, which is why I think I found housing to be so appealing, but I chose to work on the marine group because that topic area is one I don't have a lot of former exposure with, and I was looking to gain a new understanding of sustainability from a different angle, which I think I very much accomplished on this trip.
The sustainability issue that's most intriguing to me in Hong Kong is the biodiversity conservation. Hong Kong is made up of about 40% country parks, so like national parks here, and you can't build on them, and they're running out of space, so they're using a technique called land reclamation. So they're digging up the ocean floor and using the earth from the bottom of the ocean to create new islands, such as the third runway that's in construction right now. And the issue there is it more sustainable to build on your country parks, something that the people of Hong Kong really take pride in, or to destroy habitat in the bottom of the ocean, something that people probably don't see very often and maybe isn't as eminent as knocking down your country park.
Currently, Hong Kong is going to go ahead with their land reclamation projects, or LRs, that they have planned. One of the reasons housing is such an issue in the city is because they're very much landlocked and don't have the necessary room they need to grow at the rate at which they are currently growing. So these LRs, what they literally are is reclaiming land from the sea and essentially creating an artificial island. So Disneyland Hong Kong is an example of one of those projects that's been completed. In relation to the project my group focused on, we found the most controversial project in the works is the reclamation for a third runway for the international airport. The area is a vital breeding and spawning ground for the highly endangered Chinese white dolphin, and it can only be found in Hong Kong waters. So the people of Hong Kong are very upset about this, as construction for the runway would put the dolphin populations at an even greater risk, and their numbers are currently dwindling as is.
Now, the issue that I was drawn to the most is related to energy, is that there are no building efficiency codes really to speak of in Hong Kong. The government can control efficiency standards on the power side of production, but they don't really have anything on the end use, the user, so buildings. Buildings use approximately about 90% of the power generated, which is huge. And the fact that they don't have any efficiency standards really, vast majority are voluntary, means there's a great opportunity for Hong Kong to reduce not only its carbon footprint, but reduce its energy consumption. So the current state of the issue right now, I've kind of gone over, is they don't have any efficiency standards right now at all, which is something that they could do very easily, although politically I don't think that they will until they need to, either by power prices increasing so much that the public starts taking the initiative to do it themselves, or they start having power outages or blackouts.
One thing that Hong Kong has been working on is kind of a one-for-one. So when you build a new land or you knock down something else, you preserve another area. I don't know if this is as effective as stopping land reclamation or building on your country parks, but it is an issue that has a lot of dimensions, and something that's very different from living in Arizona or living in the States, because we do practice land reclamation, but not as on the scale that Hong Kong does.
Our vision for a sustainable solution involved creating better marine parks to offset the harm caused by these projects on the local marine life. We want a policy to be a lot stronger that makes the creation of these offsetting parks a legal requirement, and I think they're currently just serving as a suggestion. We also incorporated elements of sustainable job creation in what would be these parks to phase out jobs that currently exist there that have a more negative ecological consequence on the existing biodiversity.
As far as the solution that we brought up, we thought we would target the sandwich class. These are people who can't afford a home of their own because they're too expensive, but also those who are not covered by the current government housing itself. So these are the sandwich class people, and our solution focused on two things. First, it was increasing the supply of affordable housing for people, as well as starting an investment plan for these individuals, so they're able to invest each and every month that they go forward, and eventually this will hopefully improve the affordability of homes for them. And together, this policy is definitely something feasible given the current market implications that we saw, as well as the interest in finding affordable housing. So together, we think this solution is definitely feasible.
Study abroad is an amazing experience. If you have an opportunity to go and experience new culture, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It changes your outlook forever. You get to see a different perspective on how the world operates. I would like to thank all the support staff and the directors and the teachers that do the study abroad program, that work for it, help get it going for us. Thank you. It has certainly changed my life, and it will change other people's lives.